We're going to cross this. We're going to walk up here and jump down here and then cross the ridge.
KGS mappers headed to the field in early June to review each other's annual mapping work funded by the USGS State Map program. They focused on the surface materials overlying bedrock in parts of northern Kentucky.
We get people together, go check out the actual outcrops and see if they had a good idea about what was going on. And sometimes that's easy, other times, like what we just looked at in this creek above, it's a bit more complicated.
The mappers walked creek beds in Boone County where natural soil exposures are common and the types of material they're mapping are visible.
Oh yeah, here we pick it up again.
Determining which layers of material are more dominant isn't necessarily easy. Antonia Bottoms spent the last year mapping highlands in the area. She was trying to determine whether material left behind by the melting of glaciers, known as outwash, is the dominant material, or if it's colluvium, soils typically found on steep slopes and at the bottom of those slopes.
When you get a deposit, a thicker deposit than what I'm used to, especially if in northern Kentucky with these glacial deposits, then you run into the question of whether the thickness of the deposit is greater than what is actually trying to move it.
This mapping has practical implications, including helping communities here to plan development suited for the material that structures and infrastructures are developed on. But as scientists, the mappers are also interested in the geologic history of the area. Steve Martin has been mapping the ancient original route of the Kentucky River here. He found evidence of something that hasn't been mapped before. Known as glacial till, it is material that was directly deposited by the glaciers.
During our mapping, I noticed this till, which hadn't been previously mapped, and there's always a question of, is there any glaciation in Kentucky? And so this is evidence that there is some glaciation in northern Kentucky. It was something I haven't encountered in the field, and anything that's a different grain size than what I have been mapping is great.
Thousands of years of erosion, along with vegetation cover and human development, can make the mapping both an adventure and a headache.
Things get obscured and it's really hard to tell what's going on sometimes. But you can use little pieces gathered from different outcrops all across the area and kind of piece together what's actually happening and get a good idea of kind of the geologic evolution, what these landforms formed from or what caused these landforms.